Welcome to the Box Score Sports Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Box Score Sports YouTube channel. I'm your host, Ryan, and on today's clip, we're just going to briefly talk about the Lions losing to the Chicago Bears. And as a Lions fan, somebody who roots for the Lions my entire life, this is unacceptable. Unacceptable, and we'll talk about it. However, before we get into my three big takeaways, and as I get upset talking about this game, I do want to acknowledge the fact that in the past, we were the Bears, okay? Our team was bad. But yet when there'd be moments when division rivals would come into Detroit and Detroit would win. And this is what happens in the NFL. This is why there's so much drama in the NFL. This is why it's called Any Given Sunday. Upsets happen. But for this team, and the reason why I'm so annoyed with this one is we got away with playing the Bears poorly a couple weeks back when the Bears were up 12 points against us in the fourth quarter at Ford Field. Why in the world didn't this team take the Bears more seriously? And maybe they did, and this is just the talent that the team has right now. So let's talk about three things that I took away from this team. And right off the bat, I'm going to just say this. This team is not a legitimate Super Bowl contender. It's just not. It doesn't mean they can't get to the Super Bowl because, again, any given Sunday. But this is just not a legit contender. I've seen enough, whether it's the third quarters not being able to move the ball, whether it's the defense being like up and down like a roller coasters, the peaks and the valleys, whether it's the lack of pass rush, whether it's Goff not being able to handle the pressured situations, whatever it is, it's just not working out this year. I don't think it's not that they can't make the Super Bowl, but as far as being like a Super Bowl favorite or like a prediction by people, I just think that's off the table right now. Until things improve, it's off the table. They're not contenders, legitimate Super Bowl contenders. Okay, so what are some of the things I took away from this game? Again, the defensive line. I've been hitting on this, and I hit on it the last time they beat the Bears. Is the defensive line, other than Aiden Hutchinson, I think Kaminsky got some pressure today up the middle, which was real nice, but Hutchinson's the only one that can consistently get pressure. So when teams narrow in or focus in on Hutchinson, nobody else can get consistent pressure. But we knew this. We knew this before the draft. We knew this before the trade deadline. We knew this in the offseason, especially with Houston going down. Why wasn't this area addressed? It just blows my mind. You should be adding a defensive lineman every single year. Basically, like whether it's through the draft or through free agency, like a veteran guy who just gets to the quarterback sometimes. You got to have a good rotation, and you got to have people who can get to the line, and you have to have enough depth, because what happens is when your defensive line can't get to the quarterback, what do you have to do? You have to blitz. What happens when you blitz? You leave one-on-one matchups. And if your secondary is not great, guess what that means? Easy throws. And that's what happened to the Bears. It's like the Lions had to bring pressure in order to get the Fields. But then when they did that, it left wide receivers open downfield. It's a double-edged sword. That's why it's best to have a pass rush, a good front four, and even like a 5 or 6 where you can rotate a couple guys in and out to continue to get pressure on the quarterback. This defensive line stinks. And this is why it doesn't stink. It's just not it's not good. It's not good. It's below average. I don't know how else you want to put it. If anything happens to Hutchinson, this line ain't getting to any quarterback. It's just not. So I don't understand, like, between the Lions and the Pistons right now and their GMs and the way they do things. I have no idea. And they know more about their sports, let me be very clear, than I know or I'll ever know. But it just seems like they sometimes try to outsmart everybody else, which gets into my second point. Once again, we don't give Williams the ball. We're not getting him involved. You think, especially in the third quarter. The third quarter was ridiculous. Did you know that the first down that the Lions got in the second half was in the fourth quarter, the first drive of the fourth quarter? Here are the drives the first half. Third quarter to come out. 3 plays, 4 yards. 3 plays, 7 yards. 3 plays, -1 yards. 2 plays, a fumble. That was when Goff fumbled the ball, and then four plays on the final one. Turnovers on down 5 yards with that ridiculous. Hey, we're just gonna line up like we're gonna run the ball. And you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna run the ball. That's exactly what I would want to do if I were a team. It just blows my mind. And then you got Gibbs back there, which gets. But my point is, in the third quarter, why aren't we trying to do things to get our explosive players the ball? Even Gibbs had 11 carries. He was the 12th overall pick. Why is he only touching the ball 13 times a game, 14 times a game? He should be touching the ball 20 to 25 times a game, whether on the ground or in the air. If he is truly like Jamaal Charles, by the way, I would never pick Jamaal Charles 12th overall in the NFL draft. But I digress. He should be touching the ball 25 times a game. The reason why I keep coming back to the draft and why we don't draft running backs in the first round, why no team should, and the smart teams really don't, is because positional value is a real thing. Because running backs are on the field, or touch the ball nowadays when they split carries somewhere between 20 times a game, right? 15 to 20 times a game. Defensive linemen are on the field 60% of the time, like 60 snaps a game. They affect the game more than running backs affect the game, right? And you can get a running back, they're dime a dozen. I don't get this. You draft this dude, you don't use him. You draft this other dude in Williams, you don't use him. And he had, one target? And it was underthrown. If Goff had any type of arm, it would have been a touchdown. It doesn't make sense. If you're drafting these dudes, Laporta, they drew up plays Laporta. They tried to get the ball to Laporta. They even ran Laporta up the middle. Why aren't we doing the same with Jameson Williams? It doesn't make sense. Get your playmakers the ball. Or, you know what you could do? Trade Williams to Miami. They will use him right. I promise you, they will use him right. My third thing. Okay? Jared Goff is not that guy. And I've been trying to tell Lions fans this, is he has a ceiling. He has a ceiling. The more pressure you put on Jared Goff, the more he cannot handle it because he's not mobile enough to handle it, and he doesn't have that special enough of an arm to handle it, okay? He doesn't. He doesn't have a special arm. He doesn't have mobility. You take those two things away, he's a very good quarterback that if everything is around him is set up, his offensive line is good, the run game's going, there's no adversity, he's more likely to succeed. But the more you take that stuff away from him, the more likely he's going to fail. It's not that he doesn't have good comebacks. It doesn't mean that he doesn't make a good throw from, every now and then. But what it does mean is more often than not, he will not be the guy to lift your team up. Patrick Mahomes will. Joe Burrow will. Josh Allen will. Lamar Jackson will. Those types of quarterbacks lift their teams up in hard situation when your offense needs that moment. Even if it's just to move the ball 20 yards downfield, even to punt it. Even when you move the ball 20, you're at least playing the field position game a little bit. You can't have a whole quarter where you don't get a first down. That's ridiculous. It happens to the good quarterbacks too, a great quarterback sometimes. But it's like the more pressure you put on Goff, the less likely he is to handle it. He is not that guy. He has a ceiling. So to call him a franchise quarterback is a disservice to franchise quarterbacks. That's my point, has always been my point with Jared Goff. And this game is part of it. Like the Lions needed their quarterback to do something in some sort of moment. And he was unable to. He was just not that guy. And that's fine. St. Brown dropped 2 of his passes. I want to give Goff at least a little bit of leeway with that. But that's the 3 takeaways that I have of this game. A pathetic showing, I would say, in general. It's glad we had a good second quarter, but that was it. We showed up for 1 quarter, guys. Awesome. Let me know down in the comments below what your thoughts of the game was, what your 3 takeaways were, at least one. What's your thoughts on Goff, defensive line? And I want to be very clear. I'm a fan of Gibbs. I just wish you're going to draft him 12, you have to use him more. You just have to. I like Montgomery too, by the way. Like those two guys weren't the reason why we lost the game. We averaged 6 yards. They both averaged 6 yards a carry. So I guess my question is, why are we throwing it 35 times if we're averaging 6 yards a carry and our running backs only ran the ball 21 times? Maybe that's a better question. That's ridiculous. Anyway, that's all I got for today. Leave a comment down below the video. Subscribe if you would like to watch more of us, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks so much for watching this clip of the Box Score Sports Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter or X. And we'll talk to you guys real soon. See ya.